record then. Go ahead, Ben.
So, like, starting the meeting without, we think it's Mary? I guess so. Someone who's on the committee.
It says, she just posted, I am back, but it says I am muted. So she can hear us, but we can't hear her.
Well, hopefully we can start, and then the person can maybe jump in or give us some clarification by text as to who they are. So, okay, so let's get started. It's 3:40 now. Approval of the agenda. And I think it was sent out with the original link. Be it resolved that the Clearview Youth Center Advisory Committee hereby approves the agenda dated July 15th, 2020 as presented. I need a mover and a seconder. Okay, so Robert mover, Krista seconder. All in favor? And I'm assuming that person there, I don't know how we do this. Let's just
it says
move forward.
Yeah,
awesome.
In favor too.
Awesome. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the nature thereof. If you have anything that needs to be disclosed at any point in this meeting, just make it known. Number 3, approval of previous minutes dated February 12th. Be it resolved that the Clearview Youth Center Advisory Committee hereby approve the minutes dated February 12th, 2020 as presented. Mover and seconder. Krista, mover, seconder. Awesome. All in favor? Yay. All right. Great. So business arising from the minutes, or are we ready just to jump right into Courtney's report?
I say jump right in.
All right, let's do it.
So Courtney, are you going to highlight some of those things from the business minutes of the February meeting, like the kitchen, the funding, Gilbert Center? I know maybe it didn't even get started, but just some of those things that we had discussed that were in those minutes.
Yeah, sure. I certainly can. I mean, it was short thereafter we had that meeting that we had to close. Yeah. So, but I can touch on the kitchen and funding. I'll explain. We've gotten different funding. They put that other funding on hold. The original one that I'd spoken about in February. So the kitchen's complete. In terms of the last minutes, I'll just do the little highlight. So the kitchen's complete. It's 100% ready to go. I think we literally used it for maybe a week or two before we had to close. But for the time we had it, it was awesome. It's there and ready to go for when we are ready to go. And I don't know if anyone saw the news release, but I actually went and cleared out our kitchen and everything we had in it in terms of food and donated it all to the food bank. Yeah. Because it wasn't going to last, because I knew we were going to be closed. We just have to be replenishing what we donated, which is not a big problem. And funding, so we had applied to quite a substantial grant through the United Way. It was the one with all the food programs, kind of the mini food banks through Clearview, things like that. And that grant has been put on hold, obviously. But I will touch on in my actual report on a different set of funding that we've gotten now. So that was basically the kitchen and the funding. And was there anything else, Councillor Walker?
The Gilbert Center, but I don't think we were going to partner with the Gilbert Center with our youth, but I don't know whether that had a time to get started because of COVID thing.
So we had, I believe it was like two weeks of it. And I mean, it was successful. It's great. Just that unfortunately to start back up, I almost have this feeling that we have to start from scratch again. But the programs are there. They did go over this period of COVID. The Gilbert Center did go virtual. So any youth that participated in ours have had an opportunity to still continue to be connected with the Gilbert Center and their services virtually. And so obviously when we reopen when that does happen, we will resume those programs again. But it's all going to be very interesting. So that was just the minute report. Is the next part my report, I think, on the agenda? Right. So basically, I have one big program update. So I'm not sure if you've seen, but we applied for some funding from the community. So it's a program called, it's the of Canada's Emergency Community Support Fund. And this money was given to both the Community Foundations of Canada as well as the United Way. So we applied and received $6,000 to create at-home activity kits for youth in Clearview. The kits were free, so they went live. Actually, this week was the first week. We got a little behind just based on, we had an original idea of how to run it, and then we had to change it. As you all know, COVID is changing things on a daily basis for programs especially. So basically, it's all summer long, so youth can sign up, and it's kind of like if you think of a subscription box. So they've signed up. We have 36 in total, which is awesome. And we actually have youth from Singhampton, New Lowell, Creemore, Glen Huron, Stayner. So I've been really happy that, you know, the whole idea this summer we were supposed to be doing was outreach. And in a sense, these kits have created outreach, which is awesome. So they are free, 36 youth. It has to be between the ages of 12 and 18. And we have space up to 50. So if you do know of anybody else, anyone who wants it, we have more space. We've been ordering quantities and creating things for the kits in quantities of 50. And
Courtney, what was the age group again for that? Sorry.
The same as the youth center, so 12 to 18.
Okay, yeah, just make sure. Okay.
And you have to live in the township of Clearview in order to receive it, because that's the grant, that was the grant submission. And so they are delivered in two ways. So one is curbside pickup at the youth center, which about 40% of people chose, and the youth. And sometimes it's been, again, I've only done it now 1 week, and it's a little bit of parent picking up, sometimes youth. But basically because our facility is not open to the public right now, they have to stay outside, and I have a table and I simply set it on the table at 6 feet apart. They pick it up and away they go, but it's all done safely, guidelines, etc. And then they had the choice of curbside pickup or front step delivery. So basically like a pizza. I ran around Clearview on Monday. Well, not ran, I drove. That would have been very far. And literally just dropped it at people's doorsteps. And it was kind of fun. Some of the youth were excited. They were waiting, and I got a chance to chat with them. But I actually think that the most remarkable thing about this is it's maybe like 30% of kids that have been to the youth center. So it's more. Yeah, so it's like 70% of youth that have never seen the center before. So just in terms of like outreach and being able to access more youth and let them know what we do there, and you know, just with our plans in the future to reach further into the communities, I think it's just been naturally, you know, although COVID has been a terrible thing, this has been a really great step in that sense.
And so there's some sort of a letter or a brochure of some type that is giving the kids an idea of what to look for in the future. Like it's okay. Yeah, so we have postcards at the youth center that have all of our services and phone number and all that stuff. And I popped them in this week. So Mondays, what's your pickup time, curbside pickup?
It's every Monday from 9:30 to noon.
Okay.
But people do have to pre-register. So there is, if you just go to Discover Clearview to the youth center page, the registration page is right. It's alive on that website.
Okay.
How did kids find out about this?
So I just posted on Facebook, and I did like a boosted post that went across, and I actually got the most traction. Most youth use Instagram versus Facebook. So I boosted across Instagram and Facebook, and the first one, I had 23 registrations on Sunday night. And so I had 23 kits, and it jumped to 35 in a day, or 36 in a day. So I think some people didn't kind of know, parents didn't know what to expect, what was going to be in them, what the kind of idea was. So yeah, it's been really cool. And we have, you know, so if there is anyone, and basically it's like 5 categories. So there will be some kind of snack, something to do with mental health, something to do with being like a craft activity and exercise, something to do with like physical fitness, and then some kind of gift giveaway idea. So this past week's included a like therapeutic adult coloring book and pencil crayons, a mindfulness activity, fitness bingo. So if they completed the different things on the fitness bingo, they could get a prize. There's like a bucket list bingo on there. So it's just kind of all really fun activities. And so far so good. And it's great because we got a grant. And so it's, you know, not really costing us much, which is great, and really reaching out, which is excellent. So that is the kits. Is there any questions around the kits before I move on?
Who's putting them together?
Me.
Well, please do reach out if you need social distance assistance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that we can all come in a social distance and be able to help you out there. Kate,
Yeah. So actually, a part of the other thing that's happened in the last couple of days is we did like an info report to council on Monday night. And a part of the recommendation was to return Felicia. So Felicia, our part-time youth assistant, has been off since April. And so they approved having her come back. So she'll actually be coming back. I'm not sure when, but hopefully soon. And she'll be able to help me. Unfortunately, although I would really love the support, I don't think right now we're at the point where we are allowed to have people in. But if that does change, I can certainly let you know.
And at this point right now, we've got spots for 14 more youths to be able to take advantage of this stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so 14 more, but once it hits 50, I have to shut it down, or like shut the registration down, because I just don't have enough of everything. But yeah, so, and if you want to put the word out there, or they get registered before like the weekend, that would be best, because the packages go out Monday. But we're kind of leaving it on a rolling basis at this point until I hit that 50 cap, just to allow for people to sign up, which is good. So,
Registration defaults every week?
Yeah, so one registration is good for the entire summer.
Oh, wow.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then within the kits, it's snacks, mental health, physical fitness, an activity of some sort, and then a bonus.
Yeah, and
whatever
like
it is.
a craft idea. Yeah.
Craft. Okay, craft.
So this past week was paracord bracelets, paracord survival bracelets. Was helping us interject some printing, and yeah, so they're fantastic, and we're working with them closely as well.
And so the kits themselves and the ideas for all the kits for the next few weeks that you're doing this is awesome. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, there's some ideas for things to add further on, but because it's funny, the idea was a great idea, but in theory it's being slightly difficult with getting things, because everyone's been at home, so craft supplies in stores is difficult. So I've been working with Cardboard Custom stuff from there for the kits, which is great as well. So we are trying to support local businesses through this as well, knowing that they have really struggled with COVID. And so that's the kits. So far so good. We're happy.
Making sure that you can get 50 of the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. It
Yeah.
can be difficult. Yeah. But we're really happy with that and the funding, and that's, I guess I can let you know at the end of the summer how it goes.
I've already got 4.
But Felicia's coming back.
4 family names that I'm going to send texts out like as soon as we're done. So
perfect. Yeah, that's great. And then one thing that's actually not listed. So I'm going to talk. I don't have a point for funding in my report, but I am going to talk about it because it's something that's happened just in like the last 12 hours, 24 hours since, it was after I sent Kayla the report. But we also, when we went to council, in the info report, we let them know that we applied to the United Way. So the United Way also has a part of that Government of Canada's Emergency Community Support Fund money as well. So you can apply to both the Community Foundation for that money or the United Way, as long as it's 2 separate foundations for the activity kits. And we submitted an application to the United Way for support to reopen. because, it's a real fact that we're not at the youth center really prepared to open at this point. There are some big things that need to happen, within supplies that have to be bought, PPE, etc. So we applied to United Way as our department, and we actually received $20,000. And we found that out. Yeah. So it's
all right.
so thank you. So it's not all some of that funding is going to go towards our small halls support and getting them up and running as well, which is awesome. But about $10,000 will be to help the youth center, which is like pretty substantial. But when you really start to wrap your head around what it's going to take for us to reopen, $10,000 is really going to help us, because we need that. We're not, even if you start thinking about some of our couches, for instance, being fabric couches, how do we clean those? How do we create stations, or how we may not have enough remotes for the Xbox. We may not. So the $10,000 is certainly going to go really far, and it's so wonderful, and I'm so happy that we got that, because it's just going to make reopening so much easier, and it's going to get the kids back.
Have we considered the plexiglass partitions between the notebooks, computers, Chromebooks, whatever we're putting there?
Yeah, so a part of that funding is to go towards the plexiglass as well, once we figure that out. So that's the point on funding where we are. So we got that funding from United Way. That other funding track from United Way has been put on hold. So I'm not sure where that is. I'm sure it's not even probably a thought right now, I imagine. And that's okay, because during COVID, we're trying to deal with what's in front of us versus kind of far into the future. So that brings me to my point of committee input. So you all know we got the stage 3 announcement this week on Monday, and that includes recreation facilities. We're not ready to open Friday. We're not going to be open to ready to be open for probably a few weeks at minimum. So I guess I'm looking for some input in terms of when you guys kind of think reopening would be okay, what you maybe think that looks like. But I'll just preface it by saying that, the municipality, it has to go through human resources, et cetera. So we can kind of, I want some of your feedback. I am going to be creating a plan on reopening the youth centers. So I'm just looking for some kind of advisory feedback on what you think that kind of looks like. The activity kits are keeping us fairly busy, and that was kind of our plan for the summer. So council decided to close the youth center, that was a few months ago now, until September. And so if we were to open before that, I think we'd have to be pretty unique, I guess, in what we're offering and how we're doing that. And just keeping in mind, I'm meeting on Tuesday with virtually with the other youth centers in the area to see also what they're doing and how they're going to do it. I have received a opening plan from the city of Aurelia, and it has some really interesting pieces in it as well. But their staffing is probably 4 or 5 times what we have. And that's something we need to kind of consider as well, because they're going to have 1 staff per night that is specifically on screening and cleaning and admitting kids in and out. And so we are 1.5 people. So that's something we have to kind of consider. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to open at 100% capacity right away. It might be like a phased reopening. And so that's kind of my thoughts right now. We don't have any decisions at Terry, for instance, we don't have any decisions at a departmental level when we're ready to open. What's the best thing for the kids or for the youth? what's the best thing for the community and what's the best thing for the staff. And that's where we're really at right now with the reopening. Does anyone have any thoughts? Or
Yeah, Courtney, isn't this all dictated by the township in terms of like they'll get advice from the health unit to say what has to happen? Like you can have this many people in the building. They like aren't there guidelines? Like I would assume they would be directing us or directing you as opposed to looking for feedback from us as not as experts in terms of what's a safe way to open such a facility in this environment.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like the municipality definitely has a say at the end of the day, and Terry, and like that's what I said for sure. It was just a matter of seeing if you guys had any thoughts. I mean, you are parents in the community, you work at the schools, we value what you feel and what you think as well. And that's what I mean more from like an advisory perspective, I suppose.
And I think when you say the word unique, it is unique. It is unique. And I think every municipality is going to be different. Every township is going to be different on how they execute it. But coming from a parent and a business perspective, I think that there's many ways that you can still open up, being, social distancing, as long as you guys have got the implementation in effect within the youth center, still giving the youth something to do while parents at phase 3, more parents are going back to work. More youth will be home alone, doing nothing as they've been doing for months and months and months already. So prospectively, I think having my youth more proactive at a youth center is better than her sitting at home, not as a babysitter, but let's just put that in quotations, right? Because effectively essentially at the end of the day, it's providing a healthy mental state and physical activity for our kids instead of sitting around by themselves. And if you go about it by, parents have to register their children. You can only have 10 in the facility at one time, and they need to be registered the night before, and they need to be registered on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. I want to sign my kid up, Monday to Friday, Tuesday to Friday, whatever it is. And drop off and pick up and etc. Like just do an online registration where the parents have to be involved as well. And then the door is closed. The door is closed and it's locked. And the other youth, I mean, it's as bad as it sounds. I just think that it's still giving opportunity to some youth instead of none at all. And that would just be like, that was my first thought. Registration. You're only allowed this many, spots are filled. Just like there's only 50 bags that we can give away. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, Caitlin, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't want to cut you off. Going back to February when we last talked, Courtney, you were talking about during the summer before all this happened, there was some ideas of like some park kind of outreach stuff. Would that be still an option, that it's not that you're opening before September, but it would still provide,
mental stimulation,
some outdoor kind of engagement, and maybe it's just like once a week in and rotating through the different communities.
The Clearview buses are still running, and we were going to get a van. So, I mean, if
I did approach my boss about doing this summer outreach, and it was determined that it wasn't safe to do that at this point. That could be different now. I mean, at that point, there were no bathrooms that were open. There was nothing. So, I mean, that's something we certainly can relook into.
Now that we're free, absolutely. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just more, we're kind of the middle of July already. And I would rather kind of look at getting the center open itself, and how it's just, it's so true. It's very unique. And it's it's tough. It's very overwhelming sometimes when I think about how to reopen in a safe manner. So, and to get these youth back in some kind of way, a familiar place. And it's something, I've really struggled with over the last almost 6 months, that we haven't been there for them. we've been there virtually and through these kits, and that's, tremendous in itself. But, I even had a youth send us a message and say she walked by and she cried.
I get my pizza there once a week, and I look over and I'm like, man, it feels like I'm in the desert. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So to me, I think there really is an element that we do need to get reopened. Maybe like that phased approach, and to somehow at some point, it's just going to take time. That's just the struggle, the tough thing. Ben, I know you had your hand up before.
No, I that was just my question in terms of just clarification on what we could provide versus what the township would provide in terms of these are the conditions under which you can reopen.
Right. So basically, I'm going to prepare a reopening plan for Terry, and then Terry and Human Resources need to discuss it, and then we get the okay or not. So I guess basically, I mentioned to him that I was going to pose this in the meeting today because, I just need some input for that report, because I'm not a parent in the community or work in a school or, those things. And that's, I think, where I value the opinion. It's just for helping me write that report and what the feeling is kind of there. Councillor Walker, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just think, I really think with the struggles of the township's having with obtaining equipment for the workplaces to get them to reopen safely, that you will likely not be opening until September, at least, because plexiglass is just out of this world right now. Of course, everybody wants it. There's no place to get it. And anybody in any areas where you need a contractor to install it, contractors are all busy as well. We do follow the guidelines of the health unit, but we also follow the emergency order of the province. And right now we are entering stage 3, and now we're also told masks. And I have a gut feeling that stage 3, if it doesn't go the way the province hopes it goes, that they're going to pull back on stage 3 and go back.
Yeah, we'll all be at home again.
Yeah, I don't. So I think we're better to creep slowly forward and get everything in place before we open. And if it takes till September, if it takes till the middle of September, we do it right for the safety of staff and for the safety of our youth, because we don't want to end up having an outbreak like you see on the news here today at lunch, where somebody had a house party of 100 people and 45 of them were infected because people didn't have enough sense to pay attention. So the last thing we want is our youth center to have an infection of some kind because of 5 or 6, because we weren't ready to accommodate the opening up. So township, because I know management team, we're going to talk about stage 3. We're going to see what their ideas and operations where to go into stage 3. I know there's an email already out now about some of the small halls already, how they want to get opened up. But again, there's got to be measures put in place in those small halls as well as the youth center before we can open the doors. And it'll amount to numbers of people at a time. It'll be safe distancing. It'll be sanitation. It'll be cleanliness. And you're right. You said earlier, you got 1.5 staff. It's going to be very difficult to deal with cleanliness at the end of a day with 1.5 staff. So we're almost going to have to try and figure out if there's some monies or some way we can move some other staff in to look after the cleanliness part. And that's something that maybe talk with Terry, because maybe through rec we get some of the staff on, and if things aren't as, I don't know what their rec schedules are, but possibly work together and help each other out here on that. But that's it. That's what I see right now. And we're just at the mercy of the process and how it moves. And it's terrible, but that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I really believe what you're saying as well is the right way to go. My initial thoughts were, I feel for the youth. I want the youth back so badly. I know they miss us, but it's not only our job as a committee, but definitely my job to ensure that they are safe and that we bring them back when we're ready, and we're not going to retract it, because I think that would be worse if, we reopen too soon and then the government changed their mind. So my thought is sticking with that September goal, because that gives us, we're connecting with them this summer. We're going to be doing Zoom calls with activities. They've got the kids. We've got them taken care of. They know we're here. And we can spend a month and a half, using that money that we've received from United Way to get those contractors in and get that plexiglass and get the new games and the activities and all the great stuff that we're going to be ready to go and stronger than we were before in September or middle of September, whatever. And because, we need time, right? We need time to do the reports and everything. So it's just, it's tricky. It's a really tricky thing, but that was kind of my thought, as well as, council made that recommendation of keeping us closed until September. And I think honoring that is the best thing to do. Although it could be disappointing for the kids, it makes kind of, I think, the most sense. Yeah. So, but other than, I guess, the reopening and that, I'm going to work with Terry and the municipality on the right direction of reopening. And I think that was a great option as well, Councillor Walker, to talk to Terry about some support as well in this staffing, because that's going to be a real, it's been a challenge for us all along, but it's going to create even more of a challenge. And if we can't, then it's just going to be like, we're going to be opening at like 50% capacity kind of thing. And then I guess we just go from there, but who knows, it could all be different tomorrow. Yeah,
you're right. It could change in a heartbeat. The other thing too is, like, I'm not sure on if there's special certain cleaning supplies that have come forward that are more effective than others. And it wouldn't take more than, an hour or an hour and a half of rec time if employee could work with us on that at the end of the day to come in and do a little bit of better cleaning, a little further thorough cleaning than what's normally done, just to give us a little extra boost every night. And if there's special chemicals we need to buy, then we need to buy them. We need to make sure we've got all that stuff at our disposal so that we can make everything as safe as possible.
And I think
you're right.
I think
we don't want to backtrack.
That's right. Yeah. And I think I saw there, Mary made a comment about having them registering for a limited period of time so that more can come in an evening. So in a real, their proposed plan is they'll have like 6 sections within the youth center, only so many kids per section at only certain times. So it's all based on pre-registration as well. So that's very much going to be in our plan about how they register and how long they can stay. And it's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that's it.
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom.
It's such, and again, unlike anything else, of course, we all know this, that because it changes and you got to make a plan, but knowing that, tomorrow that plan could be out the window because the rules just changed. And that's, I think, and from the education perspective, that's been the big stumbling block for us. We all love to plan. We all like to know what's going to happen when, and right now we're all just sitting waiting to hear what's the direction. And no one's heard anything from the education side. At least I haven't. And I think we're all kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen. But fearful also that they're going to give us a plan at the end of August and then say, you got 2 days. And then
and I was hoping to follow. I wanted to, we already follow in terms of things that we follow. We certainly follow the school board. And because we're so tight to SCI and majority of the kids do come over from SCI, I also wanted to see what the schools were doing so we could follow somewhat suit. So same as if they're in on different days, we probably shouldn't have them at the youth center intermingling, things like that, right? So we also kind of want to see what they're doing and incorporate that as well, because I think it is important. So, but yeah, I guess just in terms of information, like I just want everyone to know it's certainly at the top of our mind, and we are thinking about it, and we're going to definitely start creating some plans. And you know, one of the things you have to have is like a safety plan, an outbreak plan, all that stuff. And it's so, yeah, it's tough. So
Have we, with any of that, the $10,000, have you ordered any of the thermometers, masks, any of this kind of equipment that's readily available at this point right now that might not be later?
so I just got the funding notification yesterday.
Okay.
So I haven't
Sorry,
spent any money yet because, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No, yeah, you can't spend the money until you
Ah.
return the funding agreement. So we got to do that part first.
I'm just saying, like, but yeah, as phase 3 is opening right at the beginning stages, I think that might be a really good idea to get those orders in online or whatever, however the municipality does it. But just to get the thermostat or the thermometers and get the things that we're going to need is what we can get anyway, especially the thermometer. I think that's a really big thing.
That's a great point.
Okay.
And Courtney,
Other than that,
anything from the school board, I'll certainly forward it along to you and let you know. I again fear that we'll hear later than sooner. But when anything does come through, I'll pass it along.
You know, and until then, we just patiently wait, I think. And we've got this great summer program, and that's funded, and it's excellent. And, you know, we've got this funding to get started and reopened. It's just when that day comes. And so for now, you know, thankfully, we're still connected to the youth virtually. And, you know, that's kind of it from me, I guess, in terms of my report.
Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know which Tammy Bartlett is in the chat right there saying about the hand sanitizer from Canadian Tire.
That's Mary.
Okay.
Mary, yeah.
Oh, that's Mary, sir. There was another Tammy Bartlett there for a moment.
No, my laptop died, so I had to go to my desktop, and then I tried to get on, but it wouldn't let me have the video. So then I typed in, I don't know how to turn on video, and then it shut down again. And anyways, I'm back.
Okay.
So to Mary, that's awesome about the hand sanitizer. If you can get that for us, that would be excellent, because I was looking even for some for the activity kits, just for me going out and about, and I was having a hard time finding it. So
At a reasonable,
if you could get that, that's
right.
Yes. But even a screening thing I was thinking about, do you guys remember we implemented one of the first things I implemented when I started was the tablet program actually has created new COVID screening questions in it. I was just looking at it today. And so we're going to be able to use the tablet, that the youth won't be able to use it, but the staff members, to be able to do all that contact tracing and all that stuff as well, and ask all the questions, and we'll have it all logged electronically, which will just make it so much easier. So that's good. One of the best purchases I think I made for the youth center was that system. So yeah, so that's one other thing. But other than that, we're just going to keep working along. And Ben, I'm not sure what you think about meeting again. I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, I was just looking at the agenda, and Wednesday, September 9th is listed, but I'm just wondering if we plan on this kind of meeting the last Wednesday in August. Just so we can, again, by then, hopefully, I would hope, but actually I know I'm supposed to be in the school at the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of that final week of August. I assume that's still a go until I hear otherwise. And so at the end of the day on Wednesday, I would hope then I'd have a pretty clear picture about what that startup will look like the following week. So then I can update, and then you can update us in terms of what you've heard from the township and how we coordinate our efforts.
That's what I was hoping for anyway. I was thinking the exact same thing, Ben. So
what is that?
For me.
26th?
August 26th, I think. August 26th. And then certainly by then, I hope, and I am happy to keep the committee updated as well, just via email, when we know more in terms of reports, or if I have questions or I need suggestions, just between now and then in such a strange time, I can just send some emails.
Courtney, you might look, if you're looking for sanitizer and masks, Hasty Mart. Maxud has got stuff in there, and he's been excellent, community-minded man. He sold all those flowers and gave some of that money to food bank. He's done all kinds of things at the Hasty Mart in Stainer, and he's been able to get some of that stuff when others haven't been able to have it. So, and we purchased some of it, and there's nothing wrong with the hand sanitizers. Good. The masks are good. They're the paper ones, like the blue, white, but they work. So, but that stuff is available in there, and I haven't been into too many of the other convenience stores to see if they have it or not. They may all have it too. I don't know, but I know Max Hood has a good number of cloth masks as well as the other ones. So
Perfect. I wrote that down.
Yeah, Max is a great supporter of the community as well. So going in and approaching him, saying, you know, what can you get me, and what quantity and what price for the community, for the youth? He's awesome.
Yeah, he
Max
is,
a great
absolutely.
guy. I see.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we need to add at this point?
No.
Well, it was nice seeing everybody and getting those updates from Courtney. Courtney, we appreciate it. And so I guess we just need a motion to adjourn. Okay, Krista, and seconded by Robert. All in favor?
Yeah.
Great. And so we'll be back